As you all know, election time is right around the corner. October 3rd, we all must be voting. Do you know who you're voting for yet? The Empower Hour, we're here just doing what we can to educate you guys. Today we have Alex Tyrrell, the leader of the Parti Vert du Québec. So that's the Provincial Green Party of Quebec. And he's going to be sharing with us what his platform's plans are, what his views are, and what we can expect from the Green Party this year. Today on the Empower Hour.
I think this is me.
Welcome to the Empower Hour. We're bringing power to the people because the people have the power. This squad's going to entertain, enlighten, and empower y'all. I'm Queen Kaya, joined by Pharaoh Hammond Freeman and Gina the Great. But before we do anything else, like always, we're going to bless this show and our kings and queens listening.
Blessing, beautiful people. I hope your day started right, going better, and ends great. We ask that this episode rises your energy and shares nothing but love and light. Let this episode be empowering, entertaining, and absolutely delightful, and be the audio food you need to nourish your mind, spirit, and soul.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. I didn't do too bad on that one, right?
Oh, that was perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to Gina the Great's blessing of the show this morning, or this evening, however, whenever you're listening to it.
Yes.
As today, it's a girls' night.
Yes, it is.
It's a girls' night.
It's always great. Always great when we have those girls' nights.
I think all we have to do, though, we got to make sure we stick to the time.
Yes.
Because we have the gift of gab when it comes down to it.
Yeah, we do. We can do that.
We can, yeah. We got it. We got it covered, guys. We do.
Yeah.
Kaya, how was your week?
My week was, I don't know, it was a little bit slow for me.
Yeah?
I felt like I was tired a lot this week.
Mm-hmm.
It was I felt like very drained. Almost like the beginning of the week for me, tired me out so much that I didn't have much left for the rest of the week. It was just almost like snap, crackle, pop, but almost like the opposite, fizzle, sizzle, blop, maybe.
A fizzle, sizzle, blop. I don't want to eat that for breakfast.
Yeah, this is what the week was coming up on. So, I just made a plan that I'm going to, this week I'm going to have a better week.
Okay.
And I'm going to plan a little bit. So tomorrow morning, on my mornings, I was telling you guys last week that I started driving my niece to school in the mornings.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of children don't have school buses right now.
Why? What do you mean?
School bus drivers are on strike.
A lie.
They want more money.
I mean...
It's only right?
I mean, everyone wants more money right now. Inflation's killing everyone.
For sure. But the people are like, well, listen, you drive a bus. But they got your children's little tiny beautiful lives in those buses, right?
100%.
So pay the people their money, yes. But so I'm driving my niece to school in the mornings, and it's a pleasure for me. But it's very early in the morning, so it's also adding to my new part of my cycle where I want to be waking up earlier and having more energy and doing some things. So I told you guys some months ago that I purchased a new elliptical in my living room, like a gym style elliptical. So tomorrow will be my first official day, getting on it for more than 5 minutes.
Okay.
Because I've been doing 5 minutes just to get my mind right.
Yes.
So that kind of inspired me to do some laundry and just add some extra little zhuzhes to the house. So that's what I did this week. And this week coming up, I hope to purchase some paint, and I want to paint. So my last week being so raggedy, I feel made me want to spruce up this week here, because I feel like it says a lot about, where we're at, how our space looks and feels to us, right? So that's my week in a nutshell, just my how my week went and what it inspired for the week to come. So that's where I'm at right now. So it's inspired me to get my life. My house is get your life, girl.
Get your life together.
Yes. How about you, Gigi?
Good. Good. I think I have a very similar thing, but I wanted to say that I do feel like when your house is in disarray, I usually take that as a warning sign that things aren't good on the inside.
Yes.
So when when the chaos is internal, the
Mm-hmm.
chaos will start presenting itself in your external space.
Yes.
And so if I wake up and I'm just like, yo, why is clothes everywhere? Why are there dishes in my sink and whatnot? And then I
Mm-hmm.
have to kind of stop and think like, all right, let's figure this out. What's going wrong, right? Like
Yeah.
it's if when the universe is talking to you, you don't listen. Well, the
Yeah.
chaos starts to spill
I
over.
think for me more is that I just really haven't had time. Like
Mm.
I start told y'all. I think I told y'all too. I started doing this Uber thing,
Right, right.
and you know what? I drive every single day. I could drive 12 hours a day, no problem, doing the stuff that I want to do. But this Uber thing is draining me. So now I put in 8 hours. I'm exhausted like I worked like a 12, 16 hour day.
Mm.
I'm exhausted. And the people are weird sometimes. And I had this one guy
Ooh.
just watching the app from the back seat, and he's like, this is not the turn. This is not, but I'm like, where's telling me to go right now is a lot of traffic. I'm gonna go this way. No, go this way, go that way. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna let you tell me where to go. You direct me, okay? Because that's what I was also told to do on the videos, right? Studying for the course. Child, this man got in the back seat and told me I'm go this way. I went that way and it was the wrong way, and we ran into a lot of
Oh well,
traffic. And I
it'll
was
cost you
so
more,
upset.
sir.
But you know what? It doesn't cost them more.
It doesn't.
It reads like it's my fault, right? They're not saying they don't know he's directing me.
Oh.
So when he gets out of my cab after 27 minutes and the meter says $12, $14, I'm like, are we finna have a problem? So it's exhausting, it's taxing. And sometimes the calls are so good. Yeah, $48 one call. That's great. A
Mm-hmm.
$10 tip. Amazing. But it doesn't always go like that. So I
Yeah.
have been peeved. And 8 o'clock, I'm in the bed. So right now is like, for me, I'm like exhausted.
It's past your bedtime.
Yeah.
But the difference with when you're riding around on your own time doing your own thing,
Mm-hmm.
you're not exchanging energy with unknown people.
Yes.
And so it's the give and take. So like when you have those good rides with good energy people, I'm sure it increases your mood and
Yes.
everything's good and you're ready to go. But if you have Mr. Turn here and you're stuck in traffic,
Mr. Turn here,
you
that's
know,
exactly it.
that changes that whole mood. But another thing too, something I have to continuously remind myself: we are in the Mercury retrograde, and it is. I'm not letting it kick my butt because anytime I start getting into my mind, I'm just like Mercury retrograde, Mercury retrograde. Gosh, I can't even say it. Say that
Yes,
three
right?
times fast.
That's why I said, you know why? The universe said, don't say it.
Right, just let it go, right? But in this time too, you're not supposed to be so hard on yourself, and understand that there's things that just are, and it's the energy that it is. The energy's heavier, so don't do anything crazy. Don't make any big decisions. Don't go spending all your money because you might regret it after October 3rd. But just don't
Really?
yeah, because the retrograde, like everything is kind of if you start feeling very paranoid too. Like we spoke about this last week or the week before last. You start feeling a little more paranoid and all these different things. So give yourself a break. Take it easy on yourself and everybody else. Because that too, you can be snapalicious during these times. So just, take a beat.
Super extra testy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's kind of how I took my week. I even went out for a walk when it was, I have to say, I went out to walk, but it was like raining. It was a Tuesday. And I'm just like, come hell or high water, I needed to leave my place. Just when you work from home and you're in your same four walls, after a while you kind of lose it a bit. And it was drizzling, but as soon as I walked out, it pretty much stopped. And it stopped for like the 45 minute walk that I did, and then it poured.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you guys remember last Tuesday, it poured. It poured to the point where there was a lot of flooding, actually.
Oh, it flooded all over the place.
All over the place, yeah.
For sure.
But I was just like, look at God just being like, she needs this.
Yes.
Let me give her this quick 35, 40 so she can just...
I believe in that.
Oh, 100%. Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the moment I walked back in my place, call it 5 minutes, and it started coming down.
Yeah. I'm a believer.
And the only other thing I did too this week was, so we were celebrating Pharaoh's birthday on Saturday at his cottage. So we just aligned, nothing crazy. Nothing where, you have to prepare too much. And I find those are always the nicer ones. It's without having not the pressure, but the just the energy of having to prepare and making sure things are ready. No, you just show up.
Yes.
It is what it is. Chill,
Yes.
have a drink or don't.
Yes.
And then there's the fire pit. And man, fire is mesmerizing.
Yes, it is.
There's something about it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you what it was, but I want to say I think I spent most of my time just staring into the fire.
Wow,
Just
that is
staring into the
so
fire.
beautiful.
Went in and hugged the tree to
Really?
just hug it. I didn't actually get around to hugging it, but I just I touched the tree, really just exchange the energy, because they say some of the best ways to ground yourself is by touching a tree, because their roots are so deep.
Yes.
And whatnot. So that's for an uneventful week. It was pretty eventful.
That's beautiful. I'm sad that I missed that on Saturday. Oh,
Yeah, well, that's okay though.
I'm sad.
Well, the holistic retreat area is always available. I think he's there every weekend too. At this point,
I would have wanted to be there for Farrell's birthday. I just thought that we were doing a birthday party tonight. So I remember things got switched up. And...
Oh, that was supposed to be last week. Yeah, because his official birthday was on Monday the 12th.
Oh.
But we'll work it out.
Yeah,
we got stuff coming up.
I don't like that my mind is all over the place like that, but it's okay. We'll have to get out of this Uber and get into something else. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to be better. So tell me about what's been going on. Like, what's your dynamics like this
What do you
week?
mean?
Like, what was going on this week besides doing like Farrell's birthday or whatever, and the like, what was your week like this week?
No, I think
highlight of your week.
The highlight of my week, man. Honestly, I wonder if my brain's on shut off, because I don't think I have much of a highlight. Because like I'm saying, it's a little more low key of a week.
Okay.
Because I'm keeping myself safe from the retrograde. So
I need you to tell me some more about this though, because I heard that all of the signs are in a retrograde except for like 2 or 3.
Oh, really?
This is what I heard. Yeah, I was like,
certain signs aren't affected?
Are in different retrogrades though. Like there's a retrograde, like each sign is in a certain retrograde. Not each of them are
Well, no, I think
we're not all in the same retrograde, and then 3 of the signs or 2 of the signs are not in the retrograde.
Well, let me tell you something. We're definitely going to have to look out for somebody out there who understands this stuff more than we, because I'm about to give you guys some straight assumptions.
Give me some stuff.
But I think it might have something to do with, so you have your astrological sign, and then you have your, what's the one where they say, say I'm a Capricorn, but my...
Like on the Chinese calendar, but you're a monkey?
No, not...
Or your star family?
No, not the star family. It's kind of like your rising, I think it's called.
Okay, yes. So like your moon, your rising, your Venus,
your sun, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I think that might affect, depending on what your other rising sign is or whatnot. It may be yea or nay. However, what I've heard about the retrograde more so is it affects a lot of technology, and that's been the other thing actually. If you want to talk about, well, it wasn't a highlight, but I was having a lot of issues with the Wi-Fi. My just everything just like shutting down and all kinds of things, and I definitely had some issues from that standpoint this week actually.
Yes.
You too?
I had it on my Uber app. I was trying to take the calls, and it was saying, sorry, something's wrong. So there was a couple of days in a row where I had to like get off. I had to download uninstall the app, reinstall the app, and it still wasn't working, and I just had to stop working for like 2 hours, 3 hours.
My phone shut down on itself. It got hot and then it shut down.
What's happening? Oh, you know what? And my phone wouldn't hold a charge.
Yeah,
I ended up buying 2 chargers, and then the charger fell and broke. I swear, you just said this, and now I'm like, oh my gosh.
Wait a minute, right? Yeah, no. And the thing is, it's like it shut down on me in the middle of like my Waze telling me where to go. Like I knew where to go, but now you have to Waze anywhere in Montreal just to try to avoid the closed streets and stuff.
Right.
But it closed on me in the middle of my Waze on my way. Oh my gosh, yeah, I had to go do my blood test this week. I was doing my blood test and I was trying to find a parking lot and whatnot, and I had all my information on my phone too. And it was just like, yeah, shut down. Then I paid for parking in the parking lot, but it wouldn't print the ticket that I'm supposed to leave in my car. So now I'm in the hospital to get my blood test. And jeez, I forgot about all this that I was doing this week. To get my blood test, but now I have to go print my hospital card. 8 people in front of me. So now I'm already late for my appointment. Now I go to where the lab is. There's like maybe 4 or 5 people in front of me, but the registering people takes longer than the actual taking of the blood.
That's right.
And I'm even more stressed because I'm like, I don't want to get a ticket because I know I paid.
Yes.
But there's no proof of it
of the payment
on my windshield.
Yes.
So I'm just like, yo, that's why lay low. Like this week was a lay low because there was a lot of those frustrating things that were happening.
So yeah, there was a couple little things that actually made me spend some money. I had to go buy
Hope you kept your receipts.
A window mount. What?
Well, bring back these chargers that you bought that you clearly didn't need.
No, I need them.
Oh, you need them?
Yeah, because the it's still retrograde.
Yeah,
it's still retrograde.
Well, keep your receipt and bring it back.
And I'm just happy. I just want to shout out to the retrograde that you've only just been messing with my phone and not the. Oh no, it's not true.
Oh
no, it's not true. Oh no.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know what? Me and my little boo thing, we broke up. It's crazy.
It's messing with our minds because I was just like, what did I do this week?
Oh yeah, I forgot. This was last night we broke up.
A lie.
Nope.
Oh really?
Yeah. True story. I'm tripping right now. How did I forget that so quick? Yeah.
Ma'am.
Yeah, I know.
Spill the tea.
Yeah.
I mean, spill what you want to spill.
You know what? So I in the spirit of trying to learn how to date again, I have accepted some things that I know that I shouldn't have. Just trying to learn again, really. Not taking it too seriously, trying it different ways, the good way, the bad way. And just seeing what better fits on me because I haven't really dated. My relationships that I've had were so long that not really dating for 11 years keeps you out of the loop of dating.
Yeah.
So now, I have some small requests. I feel like things that I ask for that are small things. I take care of myself. I do all my own stuff. If you have something financially to bring to the table, that's great. But if I like you, you don't got to really worry about it like that. But I do expect to be treated like somebody.
Yeah.
Take me out, do some things. But if I find that we in my living room, any more than 4 times a month and we on a date, supposed to be trying to have a date, and when we find ourselves in my living room doing the date, I'm not going to be happy. I want to do some things. I want to explore. I want to go out. I know what my living room look like.
Yeah, I'm here often enough.
Yeah, and don't gotta always be anything expensive either. But take me somewhere that I want to. Ask me what I like, and take me somewhere I want to go. So, anyways, I just feel like it's always something, right? And I feel like when a man gets a little lackluster with you, it's probably because he's entertaining someone else. And so, I am the type of person that I don't care. I'm gonna go looking, and I'm not really tripping. I just want the truth, right? And if I don't feel like I'm not getting the truth from you, I'm gonna find it, and then I'm gonna be like, listen, why you just didn't. So anyways, I just feel like I gave this person way too many chances to just do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I know they're not capable. I know they don't have it in them. But it was fun while it lasted,
Okay.
We had a great time. We had a great run. And I'm not angry, but I just feel like I deserve a lot better, and it's time for me to move accordingly because I've never allowed anything like this before in my life. But like I said, in the spirit of trying some stuff and not being such a hard ass all the time,
Yes, but and we going a little over this morning. I keep saying this morning, right? But we're going a little over in our roundtable on this. But the one time I did that and tried something different to the point where I was accepting things that I don't normally accept. That was the worst and most damaging relationship that I had.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was 2 years on and off, and I have to say it damaged me more than the
long-term relationships.
Yeah, but it damaged me more than the one where I called off my wedding.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So cuz you're trying to it's beyond compromising. It's beyond compromising, and there's no point of doing that.
Yes.
Because you have everybody answer your, oh, well, and you know what? This is good. I'm gonna hold this for our T-mail, or what's the T-mail?
Yes.
Because it has some correlations there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we'll
retouch.
We'll full circle on
yes,
that one.
I love this.
Let's take a quick positive cause just to shout out our homegirls, Kemba and Andrea from Keen Real Estate Group. Whenever you're thinking real estate, whenever you're thinking investments, whenever you're thinking about planning for the long term, think Keen Real Estate Group. They're generating wealth for generations. KeenGroup.ca. If your goal is to purchase a car and to make the process as simple as possible, just get a car broker, guys. You just get a car broker. Big shout out to our homeboy, Hamsdale Jacques, the owner of HJCourtierAuto.com. That's HJCourtierAuto.com. If you're a small to medium-sized business and you're getting started and you're ready to go to that next level, what do you need? You need a phone line and you need a website. Think Mainstream Digicom. They got all your telecommunication needs checked. MainstreamDigicom.com. You're trying to get out on the web. You're trying to understand how to navigate through ads. Check out Java Logics for all your marketing, your digital marketing. Where would we be without Preston? I don't even know. Check out Java Logics. I give thanks to Preston for what he's done for the OFC. The amount of positive reviews we've gotten from all his referrals, we're proud to stand behind his work. Check out javalogics.com. No, it's not just because he's my brother. It's because you can't talk hip-hop in Montreal without saying M City Solo. Guys, check out his latest project, In My Fields, available on mcitysolo.com. If it's not one of the hardest new EPs to hit Montreal, come and let me know. You already know. It's your boy, Tyrrell, bigging up mcitysolo.com. Keeping the culture alive. I gotta give thanks to West Can Folk Performing Company. For the last 40 years plus, they've been promoting our culture through song, drum, and dance, educating youth, the children, the seniors. Just check them out, westcanfolk.com.
Girl, what are you cooking?
My curry chicken.
Ooh, you're burning it.
Oh, gosh, it looks so...
It's okay, girl. You need the Curry House. They have the best Caribbean food in town. 2 locations in Montreal, West Island, and Côte-Neige. For more information, follow Caribbean Curry House, MTL. Don't forget to mention the Empower Hour for your 10% discount.
So, who placed in the order?
Me.
DeVito, WizKid, Burna Boy. Those are just some of the big names that's blessed Montreal thanks to Afrobeats Montreal. Definitely check out Afrobeats MTL for all concerts, show listings, everything that has to do with Afrobeats in the city. Check out Afrobeats MTL. One full circle. We are the Melanated Community Resource Hub and Network. What does that mean? We're here for each other.
All right, well, let's get into it.
Parlay with the people. Parlay with the people.
Parlay with the people.
Parlay with the people.
Parlay with the people.
Parlay with the people. Parlay with the people.
Parlay with the people. Parlay with the people, y'all.
All right, beautiful people. I am so glad to be back and to be back with this guest. So as you guys know, we have been here on the Empower Hour. We have been on this political awareness campaign. And so we are back. The section is that we're talking about now. Oh, yeah. So we're now in Parlay with the People. And Parlay with the People is where we like to educate you all in terms of members of the community, connect you with great people doing awesome things. We go from politics to business owners to organizations to just individuals who have something pressing on their chest that they want to share with the community. And we're super glad to be able to do this for you guys every single week. With no further ado, I want to introduce our guest, Alex Tyrrell, who is the leader of the Parti Vert du Québec. So that is the Green Party that you guys know I speak highly of all the time, because as you guys know, as I say it all the time, I am Earth. We need to remember our connection to the planet. So with no further ado, welcome Alex to our show, The Empower. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So first off, we just dive right in. One of the things I was talking to you a little bit off air. Why we do this is just to create awareness. First off, for those who might not even be aware of the Green Party, like what you guys stand for, what's your stance, what's your agenda, so to speak. So I'll give you the floor to just introduce yourself, introduce the party, and what we should be looking forward to from the Green Party.
Perfect. Thanks a lot. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. So as you mentioned, my name is Alex Tyrrell. I'm the leader of the Green Party of Quebec. I've been in this position for 9 years this week, actually. I was elected to the role at age 25, up to 34 years old now. And Green Party of Quebec is an eco-socialist party. So for us, eco-socialism means talking about the environment, but also making sure that the people are well taken care of, that we have access to a high quality public healthcare system, that our schools are in good shape, and that there's a social safety net in which nobody is left behind. We also have a very inclusive identity policy. So we're against racism and discrimination and want to build an inclusive Quebec there where everybody has a place. And some of the issues that we're putting forward in this election campaign is free public transit for everybody. We want to make transit free and expanded massively across the province, talking about many new metro lines, for example, really giving people the tools that they need to go without a car. We want to make life more affordable, combat inflation, particularly with groceries and that sort of thing, and also give people the means to own their own apartments, because for a whole generation of people, the idea of being able to own your home or own your apartment is something that's become out of reach. So we think that the government has a really important role to play in helping people out and making sure that we have access to all the different services that we need. And of course, being an environmental party, well, we want to spend a lot of money protecting the environment. We're talking about $500 billion for a transition to clean energy and for protecting the environment. So those are some of the main things that we're putting forward in this campaign.
Wow, so that's huge. And I have all kind of questions. So good. I'm glad you listed those things out. And it's like I almost want to start from the bottom up, because now this 500 billion to protect, like basically to switch over to cleaner energy. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? And I have a second question on the same point.
Yeah, sure. So for us, looking at Quebec now, we need massive investments in clean energy and also in protecting the environment. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that really sets us apart from the other parties. Like if you look at the others, you've got Quebec Solidaire, they're talking about something like 35 billion for the environment over 4 years, simply not enough. Green Party of Quebec, we say 500 billion because we want to build, new subway lines in Montreal and Quebec City and Gatineau. We want to have high-speed rail. We want to make sure that our wastewater is being properly treated, that our garbage and waste is being disposed of in the most environmentally friendly way. We want to protect our lakes and rivers. We want to make sure that agriculture is done in a much cleaner way. And so all of these things, do cost money. And people say, well, where are you going to get the money? Well, the way that we're going to get the money is by taxing rich people, the 1%, big corporations, multinationals, mining companies, carbon emissions. We don't want to increase taxes on people who are making less than $100,000 a year, so most people have absolutely nothing to worry about. But there should be, a better distribution of wealth. And there's some very rich people that are getting away without paying their fair share. Mm-hmm. That being said, we're also open to, taking on debt for the province in order to pay for this energy transition. Because, if you think about it, like what are we better off leaving for future generations? Either a financial debt or an environmental debt. If it's up to me, I would say that we should leave them a financial debt, because you can't just buy back an environmental debt. Once biodiversity is destroyed, once the climate has already heated up, there's no way to go back in a lot of cases. So I think that we need to spend this money now to have an energy transition, and that future generations will be better served by having, yes, somewhat of a financial debt, but living in a province that's already completed its energy transition and it has a lot of green infrastructure already in place.
Are we modeling this after any other countries? Like, have you seen any other countries with this type of structure?
I mean, look, there's some countries that are spending, quite a bit of money on environment, but, in my view, there's no country that has put forward, a proposition that's this bold. So
Okay.
we want to make Quebec a leader, a world leader in the fight for the environment and for climate change.
Okay. And good. So, well, you answered my second question at the same time, because I was like 500 billion. Who's paying for that? Because it seems like a pretty big bill, but now I get it. And I'll share a little nugget. I feel on that education, in terms of just educating the community on what it really means to be environmental friendly and our connection as beings to the planet. I'm just going to put that out there as a seed for you guys as you're going through this whole thing. Even just community awareness, letting people understand the correlation between us as human beings and the actual planet itself. I think that would be that'd be a huge little thing.
Right, because it's easy to lose track of, right? We're living in this concrete jungle and everything. We're far away from agricultural fields. We get our water through the tap, and don't think too much about how it got to us, or what happens with our waste when we're finished. But
Yeah, absolutely.
this lifestyle that we have in the city is dependent on a lot of resources and exploitation from beyond the city and from beyond the country as well, right? Like, we're consuming stuff made in China a lot of the time and this sort of thing. So everything that we eat, everything that we consume has environmental impact. I mean, rather than having things like local greenhouses, they're run by communities in each neighborhood. In the winter, we're importing fruits and vegetables from California. We're sending them up in trucks, putting out all kinds of emissions to get them up here. So that's it. People are linked to the environment, whether you live in a city or not. And there are limits to what the environment can deliver in terms of services. And that's why we need to make sure that, we live sustainably, and that we have government policies in place to make sure that, we don't reach the limits of the planet, and we don't end up, having to go without food or without clean water or that sort of thing, not just now, but, in decades and in the centuries to come.
I get it, and that makes sense. So now, so we'll segue a little bit. So because as we're talking food and the cost of food, now we're blessed as the OFC. We just got our first 4-season greenhouse that we're setting up at our retreat. So we're going to be able to grow fresh food for our members throughout the year. So we're really excited about that, and there's a need for it because the fact that cost of living has increased drastically. Now, there's two things. You had one, I want to know what the Green Party's plan is to help us with that, because again, it's just like our wages have not increased, but everything else has. And also, if we, on the same note, if we could also talk about this ownership when we talk about owning apartments. I'm not too sure exactly what you mean by that, so I'm curious about those two things.
Yeah, well, first of all, congratulations on the greenhouse project. There, it's really great that you're able to get that off the ground and up and running, and able to deliver healthy food to community members. There's something that's very important, and it's exactly what the Green Party wants to do all across Quebec. In every neighborhood, we want to have greenhouses paid for by the government that run off of hydroelectricity, right, which we already own and we have a surplus of. And that way we'll have a way to tackle several issues at a time. For one, we'll have food security. We'll be able to decrease the cost of groceries for people. We'll be able to transmit knowledge about growing plants to people of all ages, really. And we'll be able to also to bring communities together, around these projects, and you have people from all ages be able to do volunteer work and to be able to participate in such a program. So that we call it our national greenhouse strategy. So that's really important. It would come and support, projects like the one that you're doing, and really multiply the number of them, have them a little bit everywhere in Quebec. On the issue of housing, we've got a really, really bold housing policy that goes much further from any other political party in Quebec. Basically, what we're saying is that we would pass a law that you're not allowed to own more than 10 rental units.
Okay. So wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm understanding. So me as a real estate owner, let's say I'm an investor, I cannot own more than 10 rental properties. Now, just to make sure I'm clear, now rental properties could be duplex, triplex, fiveplexes.
It would be units. Yeah.
So yeah, I was going to say, so that means, so within my building, I can't have more than 10 doors. Like I can't have, or does that mean like I can't have more than 10 duplexes, for example?
It would be 10 doors, right? So
oh,
10
wow.
apartments.
That's okay.
And,
wow,
and basically anything that is above that would be expropriated by the government. The owners would be compensated at the pre-pandemic value for the real estate. And then the people who are living in these apartments would have two options. Either they could buy their apartments for the price that the government paid, or they could continue rent, but with option to buy. So that
Wow.
way, every month when you pay your rent, there's at least a portion. Well, a portion could go for maintenance, but the other portion is like the capital. You'd be able to accumulate that. So after renting a place, for 10 or 15 years, well, it would be yours. And what's
Wow.
really incredible about this is that like this program would be revenue neutral for the government because people are already paying their rents.
Right.
And like we've got this phenomenon where like these rental apartments are being concentrated in the hands of fewer and fewer people. One of the buildings that I used to live in was 30 units, and it used to be run by an old man. It was like a family business type of thing. He took good care of us. But then when he sold it to a multinational corporation who came in, and we had very affordable rents. And like the multinational, their strategy was they just wait till people leave their apartments. Then once they leave, well, they renovate them and they keep them vacant for a year. And then after 1 year, you have no more rent control, nothing. So then they're renting them double the price.
Wow.
And meanwhile, the other people who didn't leave, well, the company refuses to fix anything. It's trying to get them out the door.
Right.
And these are multinational corporations, and they come here, and we've got people that are paying up to 50% of their income in rent
Yes, sir.
to pay to either these really rich people or these multinational corporations who will then use that money to acquire more apartment buildings to do the same thing to even more people.
Yeah.
So like our position at the Green Party of Quebec is that like this business of landlording is not legitimate. It should be controlled much more tightly. These people are paying all of this money and it's going for rent, and it's being used to pay off the mortgage of the owner. And the only
Right.
difference between the owner and the renter is access to capital.
That's it.
So the government should be able to use our AAA credit rating that we have for Quebec to put the money forward to get these landlords out of the picture and let the people start accumulating a little bit of wealth. It's insane
Wow.
that people will go their whole lives renting and at the end of it have nothing, but the landlords are going to own all these buildings, all these properties. It's an injustice. We need to limit the role of capitalism in the housing market.
Wow. Like I have to say that, see, I was not aware of that. And that is something huge. I could say that it's like, especially for people in the community who, like you had said, have never owned anything. And sometimes, unfortunately, their economic situation prevents them from even getting to the point where they could save enough to put a deposit down. So if you're saying that their rent that they're already paying could could become transferred into a rent to own, my God, that's that not you're empowering the community. You're empowering community and creating a possible legacy that now you could, it's your apartment now, you could still hand it off to your child or whatever the case, who then I guess if they so wanted, they could rent it out themselves later on if they move somewhere else. Like, because I'm super practical like that. So now I'm thinking down the line.
Yeah, they
So
could
now,
sell it or they could rent it out to somebody else. Sometimes people live for a certain amount of time in an apartment and they want to buy like a house.
that's
Which
it.
would be outside of this program, right? So they could sell their unit or they could rent it to somebody else. And like that's one of the reasons why we're only going after people who own more than 10 rental units, right? Because you do have some cases where the landlord like lives in the building with the people, takes good care of them and stuff like
Right.
that. We don't have to go after those. We want to go after the people who have many apartments or many buildings even. And like there's companies that have thousands of apartments in Montreal,
That's
that
it.
they are operating this way, and there has to be some kind of limit to it. And the fact that like these companies are able to come and buy up all these apartments, what makes the price of the apartments go up. You have this whole speculation game where then it becomes completely out of reach, and you've got people like where I'm living now, paying less than $1,000 a month for a 4.5, which, people would still say it's quite a bit of money, but across the street, like at the beginning of the pandemic, they were selling a 4.5 for like $550,000,
Wow.
and now it's gone up since then. That was a couple of years ago. So like, I mean, it's really incredible. You think already 1,000 is a lot to pay, for an apartment, but like, how would you accumulate like $550 or maybe $750,000 to purchase an apartment? It's insane, like the minimum wage, at $14 or so an hour is like less than 30,000 per year. Like you have no chance of buying just a regular 4.5 apartment, like in Point St. Charles, things have to be changed. Everything is structured like to benefit like the rich, like the people who have the money to be able to buy up all these apartment blocks and everything. They're making money off the backs of the everyday working people who are slaving away there to pay their rent payments every month and getting
So
almost
right now, so the goal, if I'm understanding, is to level the playing field. So now let me ask you, let me ask you a couple more tougher questions now. So we know that we're dealing with this language situation with the Bill 96 that came in. What's you guys' stance on that?
Us, we're strongly opposed to Bill 96, and we think that bilingualism is an asset to Quebec and to Montreal, and not a problem. Like Bill 96, like it's so ideological because you've got people like François Legault saying that like the fact that people will go to elementary and high school in French and then decide to go to English CEGEP like afterwards, francophones go to English CEGEP to learn better in English. He says that that's a problem. They want to limit the rights of francophones to go to English college, and it's like, what kind of government is ideologically opposed to like learning of languages? I mean, it's really incredible. So
Because it's weird because it limits our ability to do business with the rest of the world. Like it handicaps everybody coming out of Quebec because because people coming in, a lot of them they're bilingual, they're speaking English and French. So to come here and we're unilingual and we're only speaking French. I find that's extremely limiting.
Well, that's it. It's like, people like they got really upset that like the CEO of Air Canada like only speaks English, right, and stuff like that. But what I tell people is like, what if you wanted to be a francophone there? Certainly, that francophone is gonna have to know English as well. It's not easier to have a unilingual francophone compared to unilingual anglophone. It has to be somebody who's bilingual. So why would you say we don't want like Quebecois students to learn English or learn a second language? And so Green Party of Quebec, we're directly opposed to this Bill 96. And we want, for all elementary and high school students to have 25% of their instruction in a second language, right? So second language could be English, could be French, could be an indigenous language or international. But we think that fundamentally, like speaking multiple languages is a good thing, and it's an objective that should be pursued.
I love that. So now, one of the things that I had circled here when you were talking about being like against racism and being for the people and being a socialist type of group, eco-socialist, we also have the situation where people were highly discriminated against for not being vaccinated. So this is something that we did hear a lot of. There was a lot of concern from people within the community. And right now, I know like a lot of people are going towards the Conservative Party because they're one of the parties that were standing up against it. So now, where do we stand in terms of the Green Party and the vaccine mandates?
Okay, well, I mean, look, the Green Party of Quebec and we supported the different sanitary measures that they put in place, like at the time that they were there, and like we were critical of a lot of them, including like the curfew, for example, which had a lot of negative impacts, and also the priorities, where things were done. Like, there were times when they were telling us like, you're not allowed to have one friend over at your house, but like retail shopping is going to be open.
Right. So, exactly. No logic. There was no logic. Like especially like, because within the OFC, we deal with so many small businesses. So to see them have to close their doors, but then you go to Costco or Walmart and they're rampacked, and it's like, how's that even fair? How does that make any sense? You have the small business owner in old Montreal or downtown or trying to make their ends meet, and they have to close their doors. If not, they're taking risks of getting fined. But then these companies who could afford it, they're able to stay open on top of that.
Right. So I think that the way that François Legault did it was a pro-business approach. I think that like, sure, there were moments when we had to limit transmission of the virus, right? The hospitals were overflowing, people were getting sick, people were scared, right? There was a lot of support in the population at the time for like strong measures. Right. But I think that they should never have like made it so pro-business that those businesses are open, but if you have one extra person at your house there, you could be a big fine. The police can be knocking on your door. It was like a pro-business, like pro-police kind of like policy that they took. And I think that there's a lot of things they could have done to limit transmission, which would have been more intelligent and had less impacts like on people's well-being, right? Because there's a lot of people who, yeah, that's it. We didn't want to break the rules, didn't want to have people over to their home when they weren't allowed, but then end up completely isolated. And, you know, even things like saying, well, if you live by yourself, you know, you can have one person over. It's like, okay, great. What if you live with a roommate, you know?
Yeah.
Like your roommate's not necessarily like your friend and stuff like that, you know? So like there's a lot of stuff like that where it doesn't really make sense, you know, and
Because
like,
it seemed like it was like we put on a band-aid, but it really actually created more problems than anything. Because now as a result, like I could tell you firsthand, like we're dealing with people who are suffering from anxiety, who went through depression by being completely isolated. Like, so you know, it might have made more sense to take a different approach or different measure. But now when we're talking about people having to be vaccinated in order to operate in society. Now, because everybody, the word is that once the weather starts to change and the powers that be have a little less control or more control over the people, because we're you know, we're inside more, or whatever be the case, we're not as out, that there is talks of, you know, another wave coming out, or, you know, making sure that all your vaccines are up to date. So you need like vaccine 5, 6, or 7. I don't know where they're at right now, but I'm just saying, like, you know, so if we're saying that the Green Party isn't in support of the measures once they're in place, are you saying once the measures come back into place, that you guys would still be in support of them?
well, look, I think that like those measures had like a time and a place, right? And like when we were talking about like the vaccine passport and stuff like this, like we didn't have that much data on the vaccine, and like we were hoping that you would get the 2 shots and then you would be protected, you know, permanently and stuff like that. Now, look, it's not the case. You know, I'm up to my 4th vaccine personally, and I got COVID 3 days after getting my 4th vaccine, right? So although it wasn't very bad, and I would hope that this vaccine helped it, you know, not be so bad and everything. But now, like going forward, like it is a lot larger of an ask, you know, to say we're going to have like a COVID vaccine every 5 months versus like you're going to have to get this like twice and then that's going to be it for good. You know? So I think that like there's a limit, you know, people have a limit. Like we can't expect every member of the society to get a COVID vaccine every 5 months, you know, even if the scientific data says that like this would, you know, prevent death and disease and that sort of thing. Like, is it reasonable to ask people to get continuous vaccines? Like, I don't think so, you know.
That's it. And that's why it was important to understand, like, where, like, and again, I'm green, no pun intended, but in the sense of not knowing how it works, right? Like, so once you guys come into power, if from a national standpoint, they're like, look, this is it, this is something that has to be. It's important to know that our political party is here to fight for the case, because it's a lot, like, we did not feel that there, like, as a society, that it was a fair fight. We did not feel that there was anybody saying that no, like, somebody needs to yeah, and it's not to say to fight against it. It was just for those who were not comfortable with it. There was nobody there support, no one supporting them. The people who are like, well, I'm not down, so where am I supposed to turn? There were nobody to turn to. There was no group saying, well, like, we are opposed to this or whatever be the case. So that's why it's really important.
And I mean, look, the Conservative Party of Quebec, you know, picked up on a lot of that discontent and everything. But I think also that like the Conservative Party went like really too far. Like I've heard Eric Duhem say stuff like, oh, well, we know that the COVID measures are going to be in place even after the virus, you know, suggesting that the measures had nothing to do with the virus, stuff like that. Like, you know, I think that that's like, that's much too far. It's inaccurate, you know, and I think that the Conservative Party like capitalized like on this political opportunity, you know, to speak against the measures, but that they, you know, played into like some pretty serious like conspiracy theories and that sort of thing, like in order to get themselves attention and, you know, to see also like their leader is vaccinated, right? But then to be going and like talking against the vaccines and stuff, like, I don't know, I didn't like really appreciate like their approach to it. And I think that like they're insincere and that they're trying to like exploit like this issue, you know. And it's not to say that like people's concerns aren't legitimate or don't need to be listened to, but like the way that the Conservative Party has gone out of their way to capitalize on this, I think is problematic. But things have also changed, you know, like now we're not in the same like phase of the pandemic that we were like when these measures were put in. And like when the measures were put in, like they were a lot more popular then than they are now.
Definitely. No, and I you're absolutely right. And I think where my heart goes out is because I know personally that there are still some people, mainly elders, that are still living in this extreme fear, which is, I find that so sad and disappointing, because they've stopped living. Like they don't, like they have absorbed so much of what the media has put out, is that they are living in a state of fear. But it is what it is. Like, and hopefully we'll see once the season changes that, hopefully the energy starts to change and whatnot. So I have two more questions for you guys before we wrap up.
Okay.
And we're wrapping. So, and actually, well, one is more just your opinions, I guess, or giving you an opportunity to show what is different between your party and the others. And if you want, you could totally bash the other parties. This is now just the platform, it's the time for you to do it. Like, because I know one of the things that came up that was weird is that the Liberal Party, being the party that brought up the Bill 96, I found that was weird, because they've been the party that's, the majority of the English community has been supporting Liberal parties for a long time. So I don't know if you guys have a say on that, or you can if you.
Yeah, sure. So look, like the Green Party of Quebec, there is sort of a mix between like the Liberal Party of Quebec and like Quebec Solidaire, right? Like we have a lot in common with the Liberal Party with respect to inclusive identity politics and defending minorities and that sort of thing. Although they haven't stayed true to their principles, like in this election, and are now like siding with sort of this right-wing nationalism and these calls like to limit like English and take away rights and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
On the other hand, like we have a lot of common points with Quebec Solidarity in terms of social justice and in terms of the different priorities that we put forward. But with Quebec Solidaire, like we go much further than them on a lot of things, whether it's the environment or social justice or the housing policy that I described earlier. Like this stuff is like way further ahead than Quebec Solidaire, who's trying to sort of come to the middle and appear to be like more reasonable or something like that.
Right.
So us are more of an activist party. We stick true to our principles a little bit more, and so that's sort of where we fit in. And I think that the Green Party of Quebec is the best party because we're the original Green Party, right? We've always stood up for our values of the environment and social justice. Like we've got a great team of candidates. There are a huge amount of diversity, more so than any other Green Party like in Canada at any other time. And that's it. And we're staying true to our values. We're speaking out on these issues. And,
well, this is good, and actually, so what you just said is a perfect segue for me for this last thing I want to bring up, and it's more of I guess, how can the community help? And I put it out to you that way because I've said it on my show multiple times that although I'm green at heart, and I do feel like this is like the Green Party has our best interests at heart when it comes, especially those who care about the environment, but understanding how politics works, the Green Party just never seems to have a chance. If I'm going to be completely honest, it just always seems like we're the super underdog and we're trying to make our way out. So like, why is that, and how, and what can be done to help to change that?
I'll tell you one thing that could really help with that is more alternative media, like the show that you have now.
Awesome.
Because those big media corporations, they're very difficult to crack, and it's almost like they want to decide for people.
Right. That's what that is. If we're going to be very honest, that does seem like what it is. I even made jokes about it that we only really find out about all the parties when it's voting day. When you show up, you're like, oh my God, there's like six other. Yeah. It's like, oh, so it's not just conservative and liberal. There's like, okay, there's other ones on here. Great.
They want to control what you can and what you can't say, what's acceptable, what's not, and they can really, it's incredible. They can go from like, taking a politician, a party leader, and either putting them up on a huge pedestal and giving like a huge like exposure, kind of like they're giving to Eric Duhem, or they can do the opposite and they can really push you down and sort of like pretend as if you don't exist, which is what they're doing to the Green Party of Quebec and I don't see why somebody like Eric Duhem, would be considered like more credible or more newsworthy than Green Party of Quebec, because we have a lot of bold propositions and everything, and people care about the environment, they care about social justice, and they care about inclusive Quebec, so why is it that the media has decided that like the Conservative Party is credible and deserves attention and the Green Party is not? It's really incredible, and that's one of the things that can be sometimes frustrating, about my job here is that you see like this power structure in place and like all the tentacles of the system that deploy during election period, to preserve the status quo and to limit the speed of change in society. It's really incredible. So those are some of the challenges that are facing the Green Party. But at the same time, like you never know when things can change, right? Like I used to volunteer for the NDP with Jack Layton, and we had like this huge wave where in a period of 2 weeks, we went from thinking we'd have maybe one seat in Quebec to having like 80% of them.
Wow.
People in their 20s and stuff like that being elected to parliament that never expected to have a chance at winning whatsoever. So, I think that things can change like quite a bit. And like our role in the Green Party is to present an alternative, and make sure that that alternative is on the ballot, that it has the most developed platform possible. And that if people vote for us, we'll be there to elect them. And we also have the role of influencing the debate. Like there's a lot of policies that we've developed in Green Party of Quebec, which have gone on to be adopted by the other parties and this sort of thing. So that's it. Our role is to influence the debate and provide an alternative, and to inject some positive energy into the democratic process. So that's always just the same thing over and over again. People lose interest; they don't want to vote. This sort of thing, particularly young people. Like we've got a lot of young candidates. I think if young people look at who's running the election and they see people in their 20s that are putting their name forward, their face on a sign, they're doing it, well, maybe they'd be a little bit, more interested in voting and coming to debates and informing themselves about the election.
Man, this has been great, Alex. Like I definitely appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule. I know it's super busy. There's a lot of things going on, but to be able to connect with us, be able to connect with community has been huge. So now if people want to find out more, if they want to connect with the party, they want to support, become a member, donate, how do they do all those things?
So the best thing to do is go to our website, pvq.qc.ca, like Parti Vert Québec. On there, you'll find our platform. It's called the New Green Plan. It's a document. It's about 45 pages or so. You can look through and check whatever issue interests you. We have policies on all of the issues, so that's really interesting. People can also become members on our website. It's completely free. You'll be added to a mailing list. You have the updates and that sort of thing. And there's a lot of opportunity in the Green Party. We're going to be looking for candidates in the next election, for example, and there's a lot of ways to get involved. So I really encourage people to take a look at our website. And if anybody wants to reach out to me directly, if they have questions or that sort of thing, you can easily find my email address on the website, or you can also reach out to me on Facebook.
Amazing. Yet you are super accessible. So we thank you for that. Guys, this has been another awesome segment of Parlay with the People. We are on here with Alex Tyrrell, the leader of the Green Party. That's the Parti Vert du Québec. They're just here doing their thing and fighting for the planet and fighting for the people. So we thank them again for doing it. Again, Alex, I thank you for being with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Kings and queens, this was the Empower Hour with Pharaoh Freeman, Queen Kaya, and Gina the Great. We are on live every Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and broadcasting Thursday mornings at 7 a.m. on CKUT 90.3 FM. Hopefully you got your dose of entertainment, enlightenment, and empowerment. Subscribe and watch us on empowermtl.com and email us at empowermtl@gmail.com to anonymously be featured on our What's the Tea Mail segment. Stay blessed, black, and highly favored.